everyone. Welcome to Winged Paper Crafting. My name is Angel Fitch. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad you've stopped by my YouTube channel. Today we're going to do our third set of alternatives for the September 2025 paper pumpkin kit called Fall for Toile. And here are the 9 cards that you could have made had you done the kit as intended. But as you know, we do things a little different around here, so we're going to get into our first card for today. And this isn't one of those that I call an easy button, because everybody needs an easy button, right? So we're going to start with a card base of Darling Duckling that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Let me get all of our other pieces out of the way here. And we're going to give this a good burnish so we can make sure it lays flat. And then we've got a piece of vanilla that's 5 by 4 1/4 that we're going to put on the inside. And I'm going to put that like that so I don't stamp it the wrong way. And then for the next layer of our card base, we've got, this was half of one of the card bases that were in the kit. And I cut this down to 5 by 4 1/4, and we're just going to make this layer number 1. So let's get some adhesive here. And we will get this on our card. I'm going to lay this out flat so I have a better chance of lining it up straight. Okay, it looks pretty good. Okay, next layer. This is one of the punch outs that came in the kit. So, nice little corn stalk scene here. So this is going to be our next layer. And we'll get that centered up here. Just, let's see, scoot it over just a little bit. There we go, looks pretty good. Okay, so we'll burnish that down. Okay, next we've got a couple of little punch outs that came in the kit. So this is pumpkins I'm going to put here, and our little fox we're going to put right there. And then we're going to stamp on this and on here with early espresso. So let's go ahead and do our stamping, and then we'll get the rest of our little punch outs down. So on the little sentiment tag here that's going on the front, I'm going to use the Thinking of You stamp that came in the stamp set with the kit. And on the inside, we're going to do Wishing You the Happiest of Days. So let's go ahead and ink this up. And I'll line this up with one of the lines on the glass mat so I start out straight, even though I may not end up straight. At least we started straight, right? Let's see if I can get this down here, hopefully. There we go. That looks good. So we're going to put that on here. And then, excuse me, on the inside, we're going to put our Wishing You the Happiest of Days. So we'll ink that up, line up this, and we will attempt again to get it down straight. There we go. Okay, I'll put the ink away for now. We're not going to need that color anymore. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our pieces down here. So I think we're going to pop up all 3 of these because I feel like in a dimensional kind of mood. So let me find the dimensions. And I'll get my mini ones out here too because we might use a couple of those. We'll put big ones right in the middle. I kind of missed on this one. So right in the middle. And we'll put little ones on the tail of our fox. And then if we can fit another big one on our pumpkin. Maybe we can put one on this middle pumpkin here. That looks good. Okay. Let's do I'm debating if we can fit a whole one on the foxes. I don't think we can. So, let's see. We'll put them on there. We can put big ones on our label here, as they fit. Okay, and we'll just put a couple of baby ones here on our fox. Right up here, because we don't want his head sagging. There we go. Okay, now we'll get our backs off. Okay, so our fox is going to go right here. Okay, and we'll get our label down. And it's going to go right up here at the top. I kind of put it at the top of our corn stalks there. Okay, last would be our pumpkins. And we will get those down right here. Perfect. Okay, so all we need is to get our inside put on and then decide if we're going to use any bling. I'm still debating, but I think everything needs bling. Oops, let's get that straight, because straight it is not. Let's try that again. Some days I feel like I'm just crooked. Okay, what can we use for the outside here? How about a couple of these pecan pie ones that we used before. If I can get them out of the sleeve here. Here we go. So let's use a big one. Up here. And a little one down here. And one more little one. We'll put it right there. Whoops. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So there's our first card. I'm going to leave these out because we might use these on our other one too. So let's move on to the second one. The second one we're going to do a little bit more stamping on. So I've got a card base here of crumb cake. That is 4, let's see, what is this? It's 4 1/4, excuse me, by 11. And I've scored it at, I should have written it down, but you know, I didn't. So I've scored it at 2 and, let's see, 2 5/8, and then again at 8 1/4. So 2 5/8 and 8 1/4. And that gives us this gatefold card. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take, this was one of the card bases that was in the kit, and it kind of looks like linen paper. So I cut that down to, I've got 2 1/2 by 4. So both of these pieces are 2 1/2 by 4. And these are going to be the pieces that go out here on the front. So let's go ahead and get those down. And then we'll build up our sentiment piece. So let's see. Let's get this centered up. I'm going to open this up just a little bit so I can kind of tell where it is. Okay, so we've got, scoot this over just a smidge. Okay, so there's that side, and we'll get this side down, and we want it to match the other side top to bottom. So it looks like it's straight. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so there's that piece. And actually, I forgot. We're going to do some stamping on that, which I probably should have done before I put it down, but it's okay. We're going to do it now. So I'm going to stamp some of these little leaves that were in the stamp set, and I've got 2 different ones that I want to use. So we're just going to start with one, and I'm going to use pecan pie ink, And we're just going to give this a little decoration down here in the corner. So we don't need very many down here. I think we're going to put one more, but we want to use the other leaf. So let's use this leaf over here. And we're just going to put some random leaves up here. I got ahead of myself because I should have done this before we put it down. Okay, I'm going to get a scratch piece of paper here because I want to go off the side of this so it looks like more natural, but I don't want it to get on our crumb cake. So I'm just going to take this piece of paper and kind of butt it right up to there. So our crumb cake card base is covered up. And then we can go off the edge and we won't screw up our card base. So, you know, everything can be fixed, right? None of it is not fixable. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. I want to use this edge. So I'm just going to put it right up to the edge and we'll just do one more kind of like this. There we go. Okay, so there's that leaf. Now let's use a different leaf that was in the set. So I'm just going to clean that one real quick off camera. Put that over there so I don't lose it. Oh, no, that's not our leaf. Where's our leaf? Uh-oh, what happened to my other leaf? I had another leaf. Where did it go? Oh my goodness. Well, maybe we won't be using another leaf. Oh, that is funny. I have no idea. They tend to stick to things if you set them down by themselves. That's okay. We've got another one, and I'll find that one later. Let me find the stamp set. There it is. We'll just use this leaf. It's okay. We've got a third leaf that came in the set, and I will find the other one. It's stuck to something, I promise. Funny. Okay. Block this one up. I'm going to season this one because I hadn't used this leaf yet, so I'm just going to run it over my hand. And then we'll go, oh, look, there's our missing leaf. You were probably all screaming at me, weren't you? Like, there it is, there it is. All right, we'll go back to our original leaf because I liked it better. Okay, ink this up. And let me turn this back around so we're right side up. So I'm going to just use this one over here. There we go. Okay, and we'll just do a couple right up here in the middle. Let's see which way we want to go. Let's go this way. And a lot of this up here, some of this is not going to show once we get our sentiment piece on, but we're going to do this just about halfway down that side over there. Okay, that looks good. So now for our sentiment piece, I'll go ahead and stamp since I've got the ink open. We're going to use that same one that we used on the other card. So let me clean it real quick and let's get the early espresso off of it. Okay, and now we'll ink it up in pecan pie. And we will put this on our little banner piece here. And this one just barely fits. Which I guess it just barely fit on the other one too. All right, perfect. And then last but not least, our inside piece, of which I seem to have misplaced again. Oh my goodness. I had a piece of white, I thought. All right, well, let's get a piece of white for the inside, because we need a piece to put our stamp on. So it needs to be the same size that we had the outside pieces. So they were what were they? 2.5 by 4. So that's what we're going to make our outside piece. 2.5 by 4. So this is just a scrap piece of white. And I'll just cut it down to 2.5 by 4. Perfect. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and stamp on this. And we're going to use the same sentiment that we used a second ago on the other card. So, once again, I'm going to clean this stamp real quick so I don't get early espresso ink into my pecan pie. And we'll ink this up. And we'll get this lined up here. And we'll stamp. Perfect. Okay. One last thing we need to stamp, and that is our little circle. This was a circle. Looks like the ones that came in the kit, but I ran out of those and still wanted more, so I took the Stylish Shapes dies and I cut my own little circle. So it is just the it's not even the smallest. Well, maybe no, I don't think it's the smallest. It's the second to the smallest Stylish Shape circle. And it looks like my dies are falling apart here. Okay. Clean that up later. So, let's take our little acorn stamp that was in the kit, and let me block this up. And we're just going to stamp one set of these acorns right here on that little thing. Okay, now we can put the ink away. So, let's go ahead and get our inside piece. This piece over here, actually, I'm going to glue down. I'm going to use some liquid glue on this. And we're just going to glue this flat. So just put your glue on it and close it. And then over here is where our sentiment piece is going to go. So let's glue this up. And we're going to line this up top to bottom with this piece. And pretty much centered left to right. Just kind of like that. Okay. And that went crooked on me. Hang on. There we go. Okay. Now, on the front, we have got a piece of pecan pie that I cut using the textured note dies that are new to me. I know everybody else has had them for a while, but I did not until this week. So, and I just love these. I understand now what everybody else was raving about. So, it's a set of nested rectangles, basically, and each one of them has a different design on the outside of them, so around them. So I used for this, which one did I use? Yes, this one right here with the, it almost has lines in the pattern around it. So I cut this out of pecan pie. And then I took a piece of one of the card bases, this scene with the trees and the deer, and I cut this down to 4 by 2.5, and it fits just inside of our frame here. So let's go ahead and put this down inside here, and it just looks perfectly framed inside of that die. See that? Just so cute. Okay, now let's go ahead and build up our front here. This is going to go here. See how I said some of those leaves weren't going to show, but it's okay. We're going to move it up just a little bit. I guess our third one up there isn't going to show at all. That's okay. It'll show when you open it. So, we're going to put glue only on the left hand side of this. I'm kind of just going to mark with my finger where I don't want to go past my finger with glue, because if I did, I would glue my card shut, which is not what we want. So now we'll go ahead and just put this back down here, centered, best as possible. Oops, best as possible. Hang on. Don't roll around on me. Okay. I'll move that just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So we'll press that down. All right. So now when you take this and you open it, then you can see the inside. Okay. Now, on the outside here, we're going to put our little acorns on a dimensional. And how about 2 dimensionals? We'll put it on 2 dimensionals. So this is going to go here on that side. Our little strip of sentiment here, we're going to make flat. So let's use a little liquid glue so I can maneuver it into position. So I kind of want to tuck the end of it underneath there, our acorn there. And you know what? I think I want to move our acorns just over a tad bit. Closer to the left edge, and that way we can get our sentiment on without it hanging off the edge. There we go. I like that much better. So we'll let that, oops, stick. It's sticking to my finger. Not good. There we go. And the last little thing we've got is this piece of linen thread that I'm going to put on with a glue dot. So I'm just going to take this and roll a glue dot onto it. And we're going to take it and we're going to just put it also under the edge of our acorns. I'm just going to use my take your pick tool to kind of help put it under there. And there we have that. Okay, perfect. Now, bling. I guess we need bling. So let's use those same pecan pie bling that we used a second ago. If I can figure out where I tossed them. Oh my goodness. Does anybody else have this problem that you can just lay something down and it just in a matter of seconds disappears? Because it just gets buried. There they are. I knew they weren't far. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a big one. I'd like to get it right up there. Okay, and then we'll do, let's see if we have room for a little one right here, maybe. Okay, stuck to my tool and not to the card. Okay, and then we need one more. Let's see. Let's do a medium one right down here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so there is our 2 cards that we made today. This one, the easy button. This one, you know, a little bit more stamping, but that's okay. That's what makes it cute, right? So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. And I really do appreciate everybody who has already subscribed. And if you're watching and gotten anything out of this, you know, hit that like button and subscribe and stick around for some more, because we've got lots more coming. So I will see you all very soon. Have a crafty day. Bye.